If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? All the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I am here with a gentleman who needs no introduction in the world of Marvel Snap. It is Regis Kilbin. Regis, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being on. Loved your content for a while now since I've been playing Snap, and thanks so much for being here.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I'm like so hyped after that intro. That's dude, that's gonna make anybody seem really cool. It's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I don't have to be interesting or exciting now. Like, that does the job for me.
I used to do, back when COVID was going on, I did an 80s podcast, and I met a musician. His name's Elevate the Sky. It's his band name. His name's Scott, but we became pretty good friends. He's a really, really good guy. And he had a song called Superhero, and I'm doing this, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, that song would be amazing. So I contacted him and I said, hey, do you mind if I use your song for my show? And he's like, no, man, you got it. I'll make you a clip and
Awesome.
go to yeah. So I'm an 80s throwback guy. So that he does the music's called synthwave. And there's a lot of bands that are doing it out in California and stuff like that. And I love it because it really brings back like 80s vibes. But thank you. Yeah, I thought the song fit very well with what I do.
Yeah, of course. I was like getting emotional, man. That's like... That was very good.
I'll tell you what, check out the video when you get a chance.
I'm gonna have to.
It really, like, they used footage from like some of the old, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but when he's doing the fly high part, he uses the Christopher Reeve Superman when he's flying with Lois. And then at the end, he actually got a children's choir to sing with him that part at the end. Oh my God, it's so awesome. Like with the kids singing in the background. And I was like, it takes you back to when you were a kid. And watching all this stuff, and I absolutely, I eat that all up. All that nostalgia stuff is phenomenal. So,
can we talk about Superman on here? Like, is this allowed?
God, yes. Listen, this is one of my things that I do weekly on the show is called Comics Corner. So I've got a big comic book background. I came from all that stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
interesting. I guess we could get there if you want, but I actually come from DC, not Marvel. So I was a big DC Comics guy. Actually, read a ton of DC Comics, but very little Marvel. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I always kind of read both, but once Superman 78 came out, oh my gosh, I got to see that in theaters, and I was blown away because there was nothing like that. That came out then, so it was phenomenal. And yeah, I liked them both for different reasons. Like DC their heroes are always kind of like, they're almost godlike, right? Like even Bruce Wayne, he's a billionaire, like who can be,
right.
But Marvel was a little more relatable, I think, in the superhero type way. But what brought you into DC, man? Was there a movie? Was there comics that got you into it?
So when I was a kid, right? Like I was actually a Marvel little kid because of all the 90s animated stuff. Like that hit right when I was right in the window for animated X-Men and Spider-Man in particular back then. Like that was the perfect age for me. So I had all the like toys and, you know, watched those cartoons religiously. I think I started with like Ninja Turtles first, but then it was like the Marvel stuff. But then for whatever reason in college, I think it was like first or second year of college, which would have been 2005 or six for me. I think that's when it was. Maybe it was a little later. You can actually track this by what I'm about to say. We just like went to a comic shop and decided to start getting into comics again. And there was the it was called 52, the like DC. I don't think it was New 52 yet. It was like its own series. It was like this. It was like the question and like this like mystery thing with 52. I don't, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like its own run called 52 and like 52 straight weeks. So we like got into that and started reading DC for like that whole year. And then from there, I just started buying back issues of older stuff, like dipping into the 80s and 90s. We were going to Comic Cons and like buying original art. And like we got deep for like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years. And then I actually got into action figures a ton.
Oh, man.
So buying a bunch of action figures. And actually, my content creation life started in the action figure world. I ran an action figure website that got moderately popular for a while. And actually, I kind of left graduate school to start working on that and writing action figure content online as a job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like getting review samples and like reviewing toys. And like it was... I probably have like 3,000 to 4,000 action figures, something like that now. Because like a 5-year stretch where I was just buying everything and getting stuff sent to me. So that actually kind of was the first, you know, I was like the Regis of the action figure world for a tiny bit, but not video, just written content.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I was like I like DC Universe Classics was the action figure line that really kicked it off for me then. That was probably like 2008 or so.
Yep.
So anyway, I have probably thousands of DC back issues at my parents' house with me when I moved out. But I loved Martian Manhunter in particular. So all stuff that had Martian Manhunter, I was like super into that. But I just never hit Marvel. I don't know. I didn't hit Marvel until the movies. You know, it was the animated stuff, I guess. But then when the movies, obviously everybody watched the movies. So as a nerd, you have to watch the movies. So I started getting into it a little more, and I have some action figures. But even that, I kind of dodged Marvel action figures too much, even though Marvel Legends was super popular at the time.
Now DC, what? So, do you have a favorite comic or a favorite film of DC's that you've seen so far?
You know, I never really liked the Snyder movies much. The Zack Snyder stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan either.
I was like, I don't know that any movies really caught my attention. I mean, I guess there's probably some, if I think back to all the DC movies, something is probably going to catch my eye. As far as like comic runs are considered, there was the the JLA run with like Grant Morrison from the early 2000s. I really liked that whole run, basically, or at least through the like first 50, 70 issues or something. I have the whole run, but that one for whatever reason just struck me a ton. Like I really liked that at the time. There was that like Identity Crisis, not Infinite Crisis, but Identity Crisis. That little side kind of thing was pretty cool. I remember liking that a lot. I don't know. Those are just what jumps to mind, but I read a ton of stuff. I liked some of the Green Arrow runs, like probably not the one from the 70s that everybody likes, but I think there was one in the like early 90s maybe that I enjoyed a lot. Kevin Smith wrote on it or something.
Kevin Smith did it. Yep.
I remember liking that a lot too, but that's what comes to mind. It's been 15 years since I thought about this. But there you go. Pretty good answers, right? For being out of it for a while.
Listen, that's probably it's hard to remember back all the way. I mean, there's certain books I can remember. I was reading comics like in the mid 70s. So 1975, 76, I was like 6, 7 years old. My grandmother and my mom were buying me stuff from old spin around racks that used to be in grocery stores back in the day. So, and there's some of the books that I remember really fondly, but it's funny you mentioned the 90s, because the 90s ends up being looked at a time in comics when it's like, you can find the books now so cheap because there were so many of them made and so many different covers and stuff. But I got out of it for a while when I went to college. And then the death of Superman came along. And I'm like, I got to read this, because I was out of them for a while. I saw this in the news and I went crazy then trying to find it. And of course, you couldn't get your hands on that book. No one had it. And you were looking around for it. It was a couple $100. And I finally did read it. I got it in graphic novel form. But that's kind of what brought me back, me reading them again. Like I started reading comics again. But yeah, and like yourself, I got into DC. I loved a book called Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah.
Which I think the new Superman, his logo is the Kingdom Come Superman logo. that they're using on his on the new Superman shirt, the trailer that came out. Did you see the trailer for Gunn's Superman?
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. It was.
What'd you think?
I was into it. Yeah, I'm a sucker for like iconic and heroic and like epic anything, right? And like good, like, you know, I like stuff that's just like somebody who's a good guy kind of stuff. Like I like that really. So that's probably like DC always had that vibe a little bit more of the like, you know, super epic and like it's just everything's pristine and kind of perfect a little bit to some extent. I mean, I know there's the dark side of DC. You know, Batman obviously has some dark elements, but even he is kind of that epic vibe. So you know, Marvel's sometimes more like street level, and I feel like DC is this pantheon style, and that. So anyway, like I was just a sucker for like the rousing score and the epicness, and then, like, how pure Superman feels. Like that's kind of my vibe. So I was like, yes, I want to see this so bad. We were actually literally, I told my wife like, oh god, how do we get rid of the baby for a day? We gotta find a babysitter. Like we haven't gone to the movies in like 2 years or something.
Right?
I think the last movie we saw at theaters was Ant-Man 3, whatever that came out. So,
oh man, okay, the one with Kang.
Yeah. So that's the last time we went to the movies. So we're like trying to figure out how to plan to go see this. But I was excited. So
yeah, same here. When I heard the John Williams theme that they incorporated into the thing with the guitar and all that stuff, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. And then when of course Crypto, I'm like, oh, Crypto's going to sell tickets by himself. I mean, having him come into it, but I agree. See, that is, you know, from watching the one in 78 and seeing Chris Reeves, that's kind of the one that I got used to. So, and like you, the Snyder stuff had some moments here and there, but it didn't really hit me. I was really excited for Batman versus Superman, and that turned into a big mishmash of all this stuff. And he tried to plunk in like the death of Superman along with like the Dark Knight Returns and a whole bunch of other books in one movie, and I'm like, he just threw too much stuff in there and it just didn't work. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm excited about James Gunn too, because I think, well, that whole thing with Disney and how they got rid of him, and then he came back to just finish Guardians and left. I think he's going to do really well for DC. I really do. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, he seems like a good fit to me. And then like I loved all the Guardians movies a ton. They're probably honestly my favorite of the MCU stuff. If I think about it like collectively, you know, all three are on average really nice. I like Guardians 3 actually a lot. That was really good, I thought.
Me too. I like
it. Was so emotional and just like
it was.
I was like
literally crying. Oh my god! I took my youngest, and my youngest was sitting next to me, bawling her eyes out. When they were up in, I guess it was like equivalent to heaven, where he saw those other friends of his that were after they had died, and I'm like, oh, and she's just bawling. Afterwards, she asked me, she's like, Dad, I want a raccoon. I'm like, I said, you just be prepared that you got to have an outside thing for them if you ever want to do that, because they'll shred everything in your entire house. So, you know, but make sure you plan that really well. But no, I agree. I think that the Guardians, I never really read any of the comics, none of them. So I went into that blind, and when I saw it, I loved it. I thought they were done extremely well. But yeah, well, that answers. I was going to ask you which Marvel movie was your favorite one, but there you go.
It's probably the. I mean, I like the classic Iron Man too, like first Iron Man, classic. Feels weird saying something from
classic Iron Man, right?
But it is really. It's almost 20 years old at this point. I think, right?
It's so hard to believe that.
So yeah, the first Iron Man anyway. That one hit for me. Obviously, like all the Russo brothers stuff, honestly, like the Captain Americas and Infinity War and Endgame were good. I mean, I enjoyed these not as a Marvel first guy, but as a movie goer, I liked them all a ton. You know, I saw none of like even the ones that people call disappointments really didn't disappoint me too much. Probably, you know, I think I guess I stopped watching some of the stuff in the last few years, but up through, I guess basically Ant-Man 3, I think we saw almost everything in theaters. So, you know, I didn't come away from anything ever feeling too awful disappointed. You know, it was just at worst kind of, you know, good popcorn fodder, and at best, like some amazing movies. Like I think Endgame, you know, the moments with Cap, you know, lifting the hammer and stuff is just like, the movie theater, like literally breaking into applause and cheering is like, that's one of those moments you have forever, probably. My dad talked about that with like Rocky back in the day, like watching Rocky, people would be like cheering for Rocky and stuff. And I didn't really think I'd ever have one of those moments. I didn't think people got into movies like that. But then, you know, Endgame kind of brought that to me, which was really special. I don't know if we'll have those moments again post COVID. I think the landscape has changed a lot, unfortunately, but who knows? Maybe my kid will still have some crazy movie come along that delivers that experience.
Yeah, oh, that was so good. Like in the theater, and so I still will watch it every now and then. I'll watch the YouTube clips and stuff from people with Endgame, and it's so much. Like I couldn't believe it, and just the entire theater reacting. And I don't think, I'm trying to think back of some of the films that I saw like over the years, and maybe like originally when I went to see Return of the Jedi, like the end of Return of the Jedi may have had a reaction, but I don't even think it was anything like Endgame. But yeah, I hope that they continue to do that. I mean, the Secret Wars stuff, I'm excited for, because I think they're taking it from a 2015 comic book series with Doom. And if they're doing that, it should be kind of neat how they work that in. The 84 Secret War, I don't think they'll steal much from, because that was like a toy advertisement pretty much.
It seemed like really, it was like literally so many characters and just crazy space stuff. It was just like too much almost, really, but not crowded enough. But yeah,
so I'm hoping that it gets back to that. I mean, I'm excited. I have my tickets to see Cap. I'm going to see it, and I'm always going to end up going to see the films wherever they are. How many of the? Actually, I think, what is it, tomorrow? The Fantastic Four trailer comes out tomorrow, so I'm really,
I saw a teaser today.
Yeah, really excited for that. I am a big fan of the Fantastic Four. I've read the comics a lot. I'm a big fan of Galactus, and the fact that he's going to be in the film and not a purple cloud like he was in the Fox movie. Yeah, I'm going to be pretty excited to see that. So
yeah, Fantastic Four scratches that kind of like iconic heroic itch to me pretty well. Like they, like their suits, and I always like Thing a lot too. I just like those characters who are kind of out of their comfort zone or element, or like feel like they don't belong, kind of thing. Like Martian Manhunter for DC was kind of that. He's a little alien, last of his kind thing. He's a horrific monster who feels like he's not not loved, I guess. Like that kind of character always stood out to me. So Thing is one of my favorites. I'm kind of sad in Marvel Snap Thing is just a vanilla card most of the time.
Agreed.
He doesn't really get played in high evolutionary lists anymore, or at least not often. So it's like, man, all these really cool characters like Hulk and Thing are hard to actually see in the game. I always thought that was a bit of an odd choice.
Yeah, and especially like all the battles that they had over the years, like Hulk and Thing were always going at it in the comic books. They fought so many times. I was kind of, I'm thinking like whenever the Fantastic Four comes out, I'm thinking if they do a season, which I imagine Snap will, because there's cards that they haven't brought out for Fantastic Four yet. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they bring them back. Maybe now that we got like a Rocket and Groot card, maybe they'll do like a team card or something like that, which would be awesome. Like,
just like literally the Fantastic Four as a card.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. Like, and just kind of like make it a different thing or something like that. I think that would be cool. So you were in the action figure thing. What brought you into stream? What did you start doing when you started streaming? So did you go into games right away, or?
So I was playing Hearthstone. Card game, Blizzard card game, Hearthstone. Ben Rhodes loved, like, he made Hearthstone, like that was his first real game. I guess he worked on the trading card game too, first digital game anyway. So I was a World of Warcraft guy as well back in the day.
Me too.
Similar era, 2005, 2006, 2007 or so. I was playing World of Warcraft a ton in vanilla.
Yep, me too.
So I kind of put that on pause through college because I was gonna have to drop out if I didn't.
Oh my god, it took up so much time, dude.
I was like a server first raider, like 10 hours a day at least. We were like on Courage Gates Guild. Like it was literally during Encourage farming when we were trying to get the gates open in Encourage World of Warcraft. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, I'm sorry, that's too hard to explain. But it was this big war effort thing you had to do so much, and we were like the #1 guild. I was #1 priest in the guild. It was literally just, I was gonna fail out of college if I didn't stop. I didn't really get that dangerous, but I saw it coming, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to stop this."
And so you always had to be there. Like I was the main tank for mine, and we were doing Karasin, the big castle. We were raiding the it was like a haunted castle or something. I forget the name of the thing now, but and they were telling me, they're like, "All right," and again, like you, we were in a small guild, but then we ended up joining in a bigger one. And they would tell me, they're like, "Listen, you're main tank. You've got to be on at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. You got to be on until midnight. You got to be on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays." I'm like, wait a second. I've got a job. I'm like, I can't do this. And I mean, it was great. I had a lot of fun doing it, but yeah, I could totally get where you're coming from. Cause yeah, I would have lost my job if I would have listened and joined them every time they needed me.
Yeah. So anyway, I had an interest in World of Warcraft, which led to Hearthstone is all World of Warcraft lore and characters and stuff, right? Warcraft characters. So I started playing Hearthstone for that. I'd never really played card games before Hearthstone. Okay. I didn't play like Magic the Gathering or anything, which most people assume. I guess I'd played like some little card games in like Final Fantasies and stuff, little side mini games, whatever, but no real card games. So I started playing Hearthstone, and I was playing Heroes of the Storm as well, which is like the Blizzard, League of Legends style game or whatever. And I started writing articles for those on a website because I had already been writing for action figures. It was like a skill I had. I was just trying to make a little extra money on the side, I was getting paid to write some articles and stuff. And I realized like, this just doesn't scale well as like a side project or hustle. And I'm spending a lot of time playing these games. I feel like I'm wasting my time. And I had seen streamers, finding a lot of success and like, man, these streamers are just sitting there playing video games 8 hours a day, making all this money and stuff. I was like jealous. I was like, why don't I try to make some videos? So I just started making videos instead of writing, and I wasn't very good at it, frankly. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could go back, if I could take myself and teleport back to when I first started, I would have 5 million subscribers. And be like, I would be the biggest name in Hearthstone. Because when I started, Hearthstone was still really big and growing, and I wasn't very good or popular or anything at that time. So anyway, I was bad for 3-4 years, kind of started finally figuring out, getting some good videos, some audience together. And it's going to be 10 years ago now this year. That was 2015. I started, I think August of 2015. I didn't really start taking it too seriously until probably 6 months later, and then didn't really get good at it until a year or two later. And I wasn't even good then. Like, man, I wish I could go back and fix it. Like, what was I thinking? I'm so bad. But, at the time anyway, getting good and taking it seriously. And then I actually went full time at the start of 2020. I kind of was doing well enough that I was outpacing my regular job, and I saw that I was kind of missing opportunity because I wasn't doing enough. Like I could work more. And so I just said, hey, if I outpace my regular job for 6 months, I'll not only save that 6 months to have some runway, but also just know that I have a steady, 6 month at least kind of proof model here. And here we are. That's been 5 years ago, and it's still proved out and even bigger than it was then. So that also happened right before COVID, which was like my biggest peak ever. That was actually obviously COVID was awful, across the world. But as far as a YouTuber is concerned, it was an absolute just crazy moment because everybody's at home watching videos all day. I was getting 200,000 plus views per video out of nowhere when I had normally been getting like 50 or 40 or something. That really helped kickstart the full time. It was a happy accident, again, only happy in my context, obviously miserable at a global context, but it did kind of help really shore up any doubts I had, and it's been going well since. And then I guess Marvel Snap just I was like, hey, Ben Brode made Hearthstone. I love Hearthstone. I've been making videos on this game for 8 years or something at that stage, 7 years maybe, and I was like, let's see how it goes. I actually did not get invited to there was like a friends and family access. I got invited once it got announced, but there was like, I didn't even know all my friends were playing it before it got announced. I was like, wait a minute, nobody invited me. I didn't know. So like it got announced in like May, and then they opened up that early access to the wider public and like
the beta
or whatever. Yeah. So I started then. It was actually on my birthday. I think it was the day it came out.
Oh, nice.
Oh, what a nice birthday gift.
Right.
So been playing since then, but I instantly fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy fun, and it fits my lifestyle a little bit better. Just like short games. Simultaneous turns. I was getting in Hearthstone, you have to wait on your opponent time, and in Marvel Snap you're both playing at the same time, and it's like, oh, that's great. So kind of just started weaving its way into my regular Hearthstone videos, and then Hearthstone weaved its way onto a second channel, and I don't make nearly as much Hearthstone stuff anymore. I still do quite a bit, but 80% Marvel Snap probably at this stage priority.
That's awesome. So you got in right on the beta. Look, a lot of people like yourself, you start now. Did you ever consider like actually streaming the games, or was it just all doing just the content like you're doing now?
Oh, well, so I did stream. Yeah. I streamed Hearthstone for a long time, right? I
Okay.
did both. I would like take my stream content and turn it into videos.
Yeah.
And then I did stream a little bit of Marvel Snap with Hearthstone. Like I would stream an hour or two of Hearthstone and an hour or two of Marvel Snap or whatever at first. But I think it was when the baby came along, basically, I just kind of started, it was harder and harder to set aside like 3 or 4 or 5 hours to stream.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I was trying to help out with the baby and just be around. And frankly, just didn't, I wanted to just spend time with my baby.
Yeah.
You know, I was fucker, she's cute. So, it just fit scheduling and flexibility a lot better to be able to sit down if I need to record 3 games, I can, and then I can step away for 20 minutes and come back and record another 5 games. I don't have to lock in for like 4 or 5 hours at a time uninterrupted. So I just started recording videos instead and just focusing on that. Like for me, it was always a majority of the kind of revenue anyway. Like streaming was almost just kind of a bonus where you get to kind of double dip because you're getting subs and stuff on Twitch, and then you're turning that into your videos. I will say though, I think one thing a lot of streamers don't realize is that YouTube viewers don't like it when you're like talking to your chat too much and you're getting distracted and you're not focused so much. So I actually think one reason my videos have done so well is because I am 100% focused on the games. And like I still have funny asides and I still chat and like, but I'm not talking to some other person. I'm talking to you, the viewer, and it's just us, and I'm really locked in. And I think my videos have performed a lot better since I stopped using streaming content and just recorded videos. So a little tip there. I mean, it's not always worth it because, like I said, you get to double dip if you're trying to stream anyway. And for some people, streaming is a more lucrative path than videos anyway. So it just depends. Not everybody, of course, is trying to make a job out of it, but that's always been my focus. It's my job. So yeah, I did stream a little bit, but it just, and I'd like to go back to it eventually, maybe if the daughter, goes off to school for too long or whatever. And maybe I'll have more time in the day and set aside some dedicated streaming time and still have dedicated video time, because I think I do really like that dedicated video time. So
yeah, no, I could. It's interesting you mentioned that. We started, a friend of mine and I started a podcast in around COVID time too. We do wrestling stuff, so it was just a pro wrestling podcast that we did. But it's interesting you say that, because we do live streams for some of the events and things like that. And you're, what you had said about the fact that they don't like it as much when because a lot of times we'll be there chatting with the people who are in chat. And then you're right, those don't do as well. If you put those out on YouTube, we've noticed that too. Just that, they don't necessarily want to see you talking to people while you're in the stream. They want you talking to them. So yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, it also sort of breaks the illusion of like it's live, but they know you're having a conversation with somebody that already happened a while ago. So it's like, well, it's obviously, I'm like seeing this after the fact, or I'm not a part of this moment, like I'm secondary or afterwards. Like this is not a real moment to me. So yeah, I don't know. There's just something to that. I didn't know that for a long time either. I mean, people would always complain I got too distracted by my chat, but I didn't really put the pieces together for a long time until I started doing it. Like, oh yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a lot of little tips that I could give people on YouTube. That it's like when people come and ask me questions, I definitely am happy to help. Like I give them tips and like, oh, I think you might be doing this wrong, or want to try this, or but just like going out through the Marvel Snap YouTube world as I'm encountering thumbnails or videos or whatever, I just can't help everybody all the time.
Sure.
And but I do think I think a lot of people get so focused on making stuff and like just streaming every day or putting out videos every day or making 5 videos. And I think a lot of times people, if they're trying to, at least if they want to make a career out of it, and not everybody does, right?
Yeah.
Just for fun. I understand that too. And you don't have to be perfect, but I think a lot of people who are trying to make a career out of it would just be wise sometimes to step back for a day or two and just like study and look at what everybody else is doing. And like, okay, Regis is getting some good views on YouTube. What's he doing? And like study that and try to understand and learn. That's a really good way to get a leg up, because you get so focused on making stuff, you don't ever get focused on improving your stuff. And I'm just constantly studying my own stuff and like, oh, this sucked, or this was bad, or this could be better. And I'm not perfect by any means. Obviously, I'm not getting 10 million views of videos. There's always room for improvement. But and at every kind of step, as you learn more and more, you look back and think, oh man, a year ago I thought I had it all figured out, and now I don't. And maybe that's life. I think as I get older in life, I feel the same way, right? Like, oh, I was an idiot when I was 28, but I thought I was so smart.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you'll come across that as you age. That does come with age sometimes. Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because I was going to ask you, like, what. Now, were you self-taught? So did you teach yourself how to do everything, how to make the thumbnails, how to do all that kind of stuff? I know there's some people out there that have taken classes and stuff like that online and this and that. Because I mean, for me, myself, I'd be the first one to admit, like, I'm technologically impaired. You would think that wouldn't be the case. I worked in electronics retail since Radio Shack, and work in Best Buy now. But it's like, but I am not good with a lot of that stuff. So yeah, like, how did you, when you first started doing all that? And I guess, like you said, you probably just had to learn over time, right?
Yeah, it was a slow process, and I had a long time to learn it. So I mentioned, I was writing and running a website for a while. Like, I was already building like Photoshop skills at that stage, right, and design skills, and like trying to figure it out even way back then. So literally for the last like 15 years, I've just been incrementally improving in things like Photoshop to make thumbnails or graphics or whatever it is, right? So yeah, a lot of the times you'll just run into something and you just have no idea what to do. So you just Google it, look it up, look it up, figure it out, experiment. Sometimes it takes a few days to figure out what you need to do. But you just have to be industrious about it. And, I know it's tough. Not everybody has time for that. Like, it's, but just over time, you just kind of whittle away at all these little problems, and you start to like, I'm the worst with like audio stuff. I hate audio stuff, microphones. That's probably my one weakness still. Like, I hate it. I hate doing anything with like audio stuff. It's my worst nightmare. So that's, like, I tried to learn as much as I can there. But my favorite part though is like making thumbnails and graphics and art side of it, even though, I'm not an artist, but I really appreciate all of that side of the like, YouTube process anyway, more even than making the videos or playing the game sometimes. So yeah, just self-taught. A lot of people, it's funny, will like come to me and like ask me like, how do you do this thing, or I love your thumbnails or whatever.
Yeah, your thumbnails, I was just gonna say, yeah, kudos. Your thumbnails are very good, very eye-catching and stuff. So yeah.
So, I've made a few videos explaining the process and stuff, but it's just impossible for me to teach you like 15 years of accrued incremental knowledge. I can't do that. I'm like, I just learned and read and studied and just practiced, really. Like, if you look back at my old videos, my God, they're ugly. They're bad. Again, I would go back and change so much, but you just whittle away at it, just like life. It just takes hours of work and practice to get things right. It's I think a lot of people just want to jump right to the end, and it's some people do get lucky and they're just really naturally talented or just so funny or so good at the game or whatever, they can skip a lot of that. But for me, I felt like I always had to grind away at it a little bit. And you look now and you're like, oh man, Regis, you're so popular on Marvel Snap videos or whatever, but there's a 10-year journey to get here. It didn't happen overnight. Still, you still have to get lucky too. It's not like it's just automatic either. It's still takes some lucky, some lucky moments and big breaks and stuff to get there. So it's, this sounds silly to say, but how many people get to be a full-time content creator, right? Especially like within an individual game. It's rarer to be a full-time Marvel Snap content creator than to be an NBA player, like it's
that's a good point.
It's really hard. It's you just have to be lucky and positioned well for it. I've had some good opportunities, so it's hard work and a lot of luck, but it's just not everybody can do it. It's sad, I wish everybody could. I try to help where I can, but it's just hard.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's true. And I know a lot of people did start doing stuff like that during COVID because everybody was at home and stuff like that, and a lot of people tried it. But yeah, you make a good point. A lot of people do seem like they concentrate on the visuals, like what everything looks like. And as long as, because I've watched some other things and, over the years, and not just, games, but other videos. And it's like the ones I'll pick are the ones that have the presentation. They'll be the ones that I enjoy. And they don't maybe necessarily have the best visuals. Some of the ones that are visually, they look really good, and I'll go check them out. But then I'm like, the content's not great. So yeah, it's a great point. But like you said, hey, listen, 10 years is a lot. When you do something for 10 years, you're going to get good at it. And I mean, that's, you're just going to learn a lot of things. So
yeah, I hope that's true. Being a dad. No, I'm a good dad. Actually, I'm actually most proud of being a dad. I took right to that. I'm sure I'll get better, and I'm sure I'll think I'm bad now, but I've really enjoyed it and been good at it. Yeah, I'll say one thing too about like videos. A lot of people get so focused on either just getting something out the door, number one, like just making something to make something, or like you said, kind of the visual presentation of it and just like making it look good, which that is important. Like I try to make my thumbnails particularly look good, but a lot of the advantage, I think, for me on YouTube that some people just haven't figured out yet is trying to make everything interesting. Like, people send me decks to play all the time. Like I get Twitter DMs and Instagram DMs, and because my wife handles my Instagram, she's like, "The guy sent you a deck today. Guy sent you a deck today. Guy sent you a deck today," or whatever. So and I feel bad because like number one, I can't respond to all that. Like it's just a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Number two is like these decks are good for these people, and I'm happy they're excited about them and stuff, but they're just not good for videos necessarily.
Right.
Like for me to play a deck or to make a video on something, it has to have some kind of hook or interesting element or twist or something unique that makes it worth the story. Like it has to have a reason someone wants to watch this. And I sometimes put out videos where I know they're going to do bad because the hook is just not interesting enough. Like the deck's kind of boring, or there's not a spotlight card or some unusual element to it. So even just like a deck being good is often not enough of a story. Sometimes it can be if it's like the number one deck. That's sort of a good story sometimes, but still not enough if it's really boring. So it's just about like almost like really studying the audience and your own history of what's worked and what hasn't worked, and really finding the things that people get attached to, like certain cards. Like anytime I put Ultron in a video, people love Ultron. I don't know why, but they love Ultron. They want to watch Ultron videos for whatever reason. Like that's a card I know is going to succeed. And then there are some cards that just always do bad, and I just like cannot use that card in the thumbnail. Nothing's coming to mind right away, but like Titania or something. I always think Titania is going to be popular. Never works. Titania is always boring. Even though it's kind of an interesting card in games, for whatever reason, in thumbnails, it just never works. People don't like Titania. So it's just about finding all of those little things about your audience and what they care about and what they like, and trying to distill that into experiences that they're going to enjoy watching you have, and then just having fun in those experiences, right? Like I've been critical of Marvel Snap plenty from a business standpoint, from a systems progression. Like I've always had a lot of criticisms there, but I'll never bring that up in videos much unless it's a video about that. I'll do like one a month or one every 2 months where I kind of talk about the game itself. But the rest of the time, I'm just trying to have fun playing the fun, cool thing that people like, and that is a recipe for success. Like just have fun playing the fun thing, and people are gonna want to enjoy that and experience it with you, and have fun, just be goofy.
And yeah, exactly. It's the reason why I enjoy the videos. I mean, because you're always. I mean, I've watched a lot. You do a lot of Galactus stuff, and I've had the Galactus card since the Galactus card came out. I didn't know what to do with it when I first got it. I looked at it. I'm like, why the hell would I want to play this? I want to blow up the other locations. It's stupid. Until someone played it against me with the Spider-Man thing, and I'm like, oh man, that's what you want to do with this card. But yeah, I mean, you have to hit that. It's just all part of it. You have to hit on the stuff, but the positivity is appreciated. And I know for myself, because you can go into a different side of it, and games aren't going to be perfect no matter what it is, and no matter what you do, you're going to have times when there's ups, there's downs. It's just how it goes. And I've noticed myself over the past like 4 or 5, 6 months, and I don't know, maybe even until this whole thing happened where the game was down for a couple of days, but it just seemed like everybody was getting. And I try to, my little show, I try to make as positive as I can. Because it's like, yes, you can bitch about it, you can moan about it, but ultimately, it's a game, and you're supposed to be having fun playing. And that's one of the things I see you convey in your videos, and it's appreciated, and I think a lot of people appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't, I don't try to be positive for the sake of positivity, but just
Yeah.
positive for the sake of it's a video game,
Mhm.
like for me, this is literally the best job in the world. Like, there's
Yeah.
no, there's
Yeah.
no, for me at least, there is no better job in the world. I get to be home all day with my wife and baby. That's amazing. I get to play a
Yep.
video game for a job. That's amazing. I get to be creative for a job.
Yep.
That's amazing. So it's hard for me to be too mad about anything. Like, I
Right.
can acknowledge reality, right?
Yep.
And acknowledge problems that exist and people are feeling. But from like an experiential standpoint, it's hard to be annoyed or mad at the
Oh,
game
yeah.
playing it, because it's like, my God, this is really lucky. I am crazy lucky. And just making the most of it, really enjoying every second of it while I can, because who knows how long it'll last, right? I'm trying my best to savor it.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
And sorry about my dog barking. My wife's coming home, I think so.
oh, no worries.
She can- but yeah, no, yeah, 100%. It is just a game, and it should be, look, if you're not enjoying it, you really should be probably playing something else. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. So I want to get into some of the stuff with Snap
Sure.
a little bit with you here. But yeah, so, of the stuff that we've got so far, and then the stuff that's upcoming right now, we have Character Master. I know is on its way. They mentioned it in the developer video today. We have they have a new game mode coming up, that Sanctum mode that they talked about in the video today. So what are some of the things that you in particular enjoy about the game, and what are some of the things that you kind of hope that's going to come out soon with Snap?
Okay. What do I enjoy about the game? Well, I always love seeing new cards. Like, that's been a thing for me since Hearthstone. Like,
Yep.
just seeing new effects and mechanics, and like I always get just like thinking up, dreaming up ideas and decks, and trying to find like what's going to be most interesting to the audience. So like that dude, Isan, I guess is his name.
Oh yeah, Eson. Yeah, that looks like a fun card. Yeah.
The new Celestial dude. Like, that's a really cool little deck building challenge kind of card.
Yeah.
So seeing stuff like that just gets me really excited. Like, I think that card's
Yeah.
gonna be really, really fun to play with and experiment with, and it's gonna have a lot of different like decks you can do. And I'm thinking, like, man, I can make 7 videos out of that card. That's gonna be really cool. So I always just love seeing new stuff. So like every day we get a patch, and like the new like Data Mines card comes out. That's like Christmas every month or whatever for new cards.
Yeah.
As far as like what I want to see in Marvel Snap, I don't know. I guess just more stuff and more ways to engage with it. A lot of people have talked about draft mode, having kind of oh, your hesitation. I think I'm going to reflect. Just wait. I was going to say, I don't actually know if I'm that excited about a draft mode.
Yes.
I think draft mode is maybe not ideal for Marvel Snap, because
I agree.
the unpredictability of draft is hard to manage in a game like Marvel Snap, where kind of knowing your opponent's numbers and output is important. Like, you want to say, like, I think they're going to have exactly 12 power left with Magneto, and that's going to move my 5 power card left. And that's, you can kind of solve out that little puzzle. And that's what's really satisfying about Marvel Snap is, you don't always know exactly what they have, but you have an idea, and you kind of have some thresholds and some breakpoints that you understand. And that's really enjoyable. Now when it's draft, and it's like, well, they could have picked any random 6-drop. Do they have Magneto or Eliath or whatever?
Yep.
And true, that exists in the game a little bit as is, but you usually know what people's decks are aiming toward. Like win condition or final piece or whatever. Draft, it may be completely just unknown. You have no idea what any of their cards are going to be. So it's kind of like that. Why am I blanking on the dude's name right now? Erisham. My God.
Erisham, yeah.
It's kind of the Erisham problem incarnate, right? Like, it's really frustrating sometimes. You don't know what they get off Erisham. That's the game mode. That's the whole game mode. So there are some things about that they could probably like work around or solve, or I don't know, make that less annoying somehow. But I don't think that's like this big cure-all that everybody thinks draft mode is. I think it's really hard to solve in this game, and it's hard for them to monetize probably. So I don't even know how incentivized they are to solve this problem. So maybe it's not draft mode, but something big and significant. These little game modes we get are fun, but they're usually just literally for a week or two or whatever, and it doesn't really infuse that much long-term energy. And I've never been a conquest guy personally. It's long to get through a match for me, so it's like it's just not ideal. So just something bigger and more significant on the gameplay front, because they do a lot of systems and collectability stuff, which a lot of people love, but that's never been my vibe as much. I don't care about like upgrading my cards all that much.
Yeah.
It's cool for people who do, no shame, no hate. Just it's just not been my thing. I like the gameplay, so I just need something on that front that gets people's interest and like re-engages and really feels significant and long term, I guess.
Yep, agreed. What did you think about the obviously, the game going down and then the compensation that they handed out for that? I was shocked. I mean, I knew we were getting something, but when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was like the first ever. I think pretty much everybody agreed it was really nice compensation. I've never seen such like glowingly universally positive responses to anything we've done. I mean, I actually saw some people in my comments who were mad, and some like international people were mad that the US people got more. I didn't really see that angle so much personally. I thought it was pretty impressive. I mean, I understand it was dire, and I'm a little sad in some ways, I guess, that it takes such crazy circumstances to do something like that. But to be honest, a year or two ago, I don't think that would ever happen. So I think this is I put out a tweet saying like, this feels like this could really be sort of a new era, as they put it. Like this could really turn things around, and if they're this generous and amazing moving forward, I think players are going to be pretty pumped overall. So it was great. I mean, I think they handled the after effects of such a crazy situation about as well as I could have dreamed, honestly. They were more communicative, faster responding to things, like really went crazy getting it back online as fast as possible, given, I mean, these are literally unprecedented international political circumstances.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I had some questions about like the preparedness side of it, but it sounds like, they were explicitly told like, hey, this is not going to affect us, and then it did. So even the preparedness side of it, I was like, man, I can imagine just trusting the people who tell you it's going to be okay. So I honestly, like, pretty much an A+ effort as far as I'm concerned. I was rather impressed. As someone who's sometimes somewhat critical of the kind of business side of the game, I was like, okay, you guys nailed this one.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they did a really good job considering the circumstances. Were you down for the time too? Were you able to play?
I mean, I had a VPN. I technically could have played, but I just made a video about it instead. And didn't really need to play. So frankly, I never even yes, I did not log in for 3 days technically, but I didn't really even interrupt my videos. I think by the time I was gonna make a video anyway, it was back online for me. So. Really just the fact that I made one stopgap video about it bought me the time to be fine.
There you go.
So it didn't affect me too much. And like I'll say viewership before and after has been it actually seems kind of up after, to be honest. I think my views are higher afterwards. Maybe it's hard to say exactly, it's not that much data yet, but I did notice like I do track like I don't know, the like Steam player counts and stuff. Mm-hmm. Snap's actually been trending upward the last couple weeks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I thought when I first saw the news, I was like, oh no, this is gonna have a really negative impact on the game. Like, no, like what's gonna happen with my channel? You see mine starts running because it's my job. I was like, what is this about? But actually the numbers have kind of been up. They took a pretty, really since Pokemon Pocket into Marvel Rivals, the numbers, at least on Steam, dipped a little bit, but they've been slowly building back up, which is promising.
No, that's good. Yeah, and I saw you started the Pokemon thing. So how are you liking Pokemon? I literally downloaded. I have never ever played Pokemon in my entire life. I was a Magic player during that time, and it was like never played the game. I probably still don't know how to play it really well, but I think the collecting aspect of it's pretty fun. I mean, it reminds me of when I played Magic and stuff, opening packs and everything like that. But yeah, how's the Pokemon thing going for you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I never in my life played a Pokemon game. I was like 2 years too young to really, or too old, to catch the Pokemon wave. I mean, some of my friends did, but I think I had moved into like books or something by that stage. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't catch that initial wave of Pokemon. So it was really my first Pokemon game, to be honest. I was making videos for a little while, and they've just, I don't know, my interest in the gameplay has really dwindled. Like you, I find the opening packs and collecting cards pretty fun.
Yeah.
But the game itself, it doesn't hook me like Snap. So
Agreed.
I've kind of drifted off of it. I made a few videos over the last couple months, but I don't really see myself making a ton moving forward. I think too the audience could kind of sense my, I like have a lot of fun playing Marvel Snap. I think they could tell the difference. I play Pokemon, like, I don't know if Regis is really all that into this. Like, I wasn't like it's bad, again, playing a video game, it's never that bad, but I just didn't fall in love with it quite as much. So I don't know. It's fine. I think it's good to create some pressure for Marvel Snap, just make sure they're on their toes and keep the audience honest and such. So
competition's good, man. It is. It helps all around. Do you see yourself ever getting into anything else? Like, I mean, as far as other than like mobile games or, I know there's so many of them out there now. A lot of people are playing the Bazaar. A lot of people, people are doing Balatro online, all that other kind of stuff. So, you're going to just kind of ride the wave with Snap for the time being and kind of see where that takes you, or you see yourself getting into something else that might be coming down the road?
No, I think I have a sly smile for a reason I can't talk about. But
okay, it's one of those projects. Projects.
Yeah, there's always projects. But yeah, generally speaking, like I'm always keeping an eye out on the kind of gaming landscape. So just to be clear, like Snap has been amazing to me, and if Snap is around in 10 years. I will almost inevitably be playing Snap in 10 years and making videos for Snap. Like I am never itching to move on to the next thing. I really value stability and commitment to stuff. Like I spent 8 years in Hearthstone, and it took Marvel Snap to supplant me from Hearthstone, and I still make more Hearthstone videos. It's not as much as Snap, but I'm still involved in the game and still connected to it. So I don't really ever see Snap going away unless it just becomes unsustainable for me from a career standpoint or whatever, which is a long ways off. Like I've said before, my views could cut in half or third, I think, and still be sustainable for me. So it's not like, even at risk of that anytime soon, as far as I can tell. So I hope Snap has a good 5 or 10 year lifespan. I don't know what they expect out of it, but that'd be amazing for me. And I think I would enjoy it all the way down. But yeah, I mean, I'm always just, like when Pokemon Pocket came out, from a just the career standpoint, it's just sensible for me to,
try it,
be ready and think about it, and not even just for me, but like if that's what my audience enjoys and and that's what they want to see, like I'm doing a service to them as well. Which, I got some hate kind of switching from Hearthstone to Marvel Snap, and everybody's like, "Oh, you abandoned Hearthstone or whatever." Which, number one, I didn't. I still
you're still playing them.
So to be fair, like I make fewer Hearthstone videos. Yeah, that's fair. But I didn't. My audience wanted to watch Marvel Snap. Everybody was watching the Marvel Snap videos more than the Hearthstone videos. I just, we just enjoyed it together. It's not like it was some sinister, calculated
plot.
I just I started enjoying it a little more. The audience it was just a natural, organic process of kind of it's not like I flipped a switch one day. We just, it just kind of took over because that's what people liked. So, it's not impossible that a new game comes along and does that for me by any means. But I will still make Marvel Snap videos, and Marvel Snap is doing so well these days. It's really, really good for me. So, and I'm still having a ton of fun playing the actual game. It's just, I don't know. It's just like really well distilled card gameplay. It's so quick. It's so fast. It's so fun. Even though I don't, know a lot of the characters necessarily, like it's still fun seeing all these new characters and learning a little about them, and it's still nice. So it's really a match made in heaven right now.
Imagine if they do a DC one similar.
They had that DC Dual Force card game that
it was
came
horrible.
And died, and I was
so bad.
Man. Dude, if they could get the DC license and I mean, honestly, it'd be great if they merged them together, dude. I want Amalgam. Do you remember Amalgam?
Yes.
They merged the two. That was cool. I was a kid when I actually read that as a kid. I remember buying that in the bookstore, like the racks. That was so cool.
There was a comic book back in the day, Justice League against the Avengers, that they did.
I remember that. Yeah,
4-issue shot, and plus, when I was younger, they made comics that were kind of like oversized books. They were very, very large comic books. Back then they cost $1, but they would have crossovers. I don't even know how they got the licenses to do it, because it was always DC Marvel. They had Superman and Spider-Man in a comic. They had Hulk and Batman in a comic. They had like these really weird pair-offs, but they would have like it was Marvel and DC, and they must have had some kind of thing going on between the two companies where they were allowed to do crossovers. But yeah, oh my God. That would be amazing if Snap got the license to DC. Would be so
that would be cool. I mean, we see a lot of that in like Magic the Gathering with all these crazy licenses.
Yeah, they just did a Marvel set.
I feel it's harder to get Marvel and DC because of their natural competitiveness, but maybe in this current, like, like 20 years ago, that seems impossible. But nowadays, I don't know, man. They don't seem like they hate each other that much anymore. But we could get other, there could be other things hop into the Marvel universe. I mean, Disney owns a million things. Star Wars could pop into Marvel Snap.
Oh God, that's another one that needs a really good card game. Yeah, Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars nut. Yeah,
I was never a fan of that in Hearthstone because I liked the it was like medieval fantasy lore, and I wanted to be only medieval fantasy. But in Marvel Snap, I couldn't care less. If Star Wars comes in and we do awesome Star Wars stuff, sign me up, dude. It's like
me too.
It doesn't feel like sacred to me from a lore standpoint. There's already multiversal stuff, and there's different eras, and we got old and new and future. Like, bring in Star Wars. I don't care. That's great.
Wouldn't be so unusual. I mean, Marvel had the license to Star Wars comics for years. I mean, so it wouldn't be unusual to see. But yeah, that would be amazing. I would love that.
Oh, I'd like Transformers, dude.
Transformers, yes. Marvel had that license for a while too.
I know, all the old comics, like G.I. Joe, I guess, right? Is that Marvel too? I think maybe.
Oh my God, yeah, that'd be really, really cool. Oh man, well look, I know you only have a couple of minutes left, so in the last couple of minutes here, obviously upcoming, we have the new season coming out today. What are you excited about the new Captain? Man, maybe we get to use old Cap again with a shield, which would be amazingly cool. I imagine some people will have him in that deck. Obviously, that comes out tomorrow. So what's got you excited about tomorrow's season? And then I heard there's rumors of a what if season that we might get data mined.
Oh, really?
Cool. Which I love the original. They got a little worse as they went along. The third season was okay. The first season I really liked. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, what's got you excited about the stuff coming up? Obviously, in the developer vid that's out now, you can go watch. They talked about the new game mode they're having, that Sanctum game and stuff like that. Looks like there's a lot of stuff. Character Mastery is coming out this month probably as well. So yeah, what's got you most excited about the upcoming month?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a big month, number one. Like, actually, a lot of stuff, which is well timed. Game mode looks pretty cool. I like that just because it's different and fun, and there's gonna be 3 new cards in it, like Uncle Ben and Laufey and what's the other one? I'm forgetting the other one.
Gorgon.
Oh, Gorgon. That's right. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Like that's gonna be a big week for videos. Yes. Thinking about that's stressful a little bit. Like trying to think all these
3
videos.
cards in a week.
So that's pretty cool. Sam Wilson Cap looks pretty neat. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. Probably some kind of ongoing thing, since they're both ongoing cards and Spectrum deck. Yeah. I was actually gonna do that last week, and I had a deck built, and I even recorded like 30 minutes, and I was like, "Oh wait, you idiot! Sam Wilson's coming out on Tuesday. I need to save this deck for Tuesday, because if I had just done a Spectrum ongoing on like Friday and then did it on Tuesday, I would kill my Sam Wilson views. So I was like, no, I gotta cancel this. I gotta back out. Save this for Tuesday. Yep, the kind of stuff I'm always thinking about. So probably gonna do that unless something else comes to mind. There's also Joaquin Torres as well. I think is he the spotlight card?
Yes, Joaquin's the spotlight card.
So figuring that out. I'm not the biggest bounce player, but I'll probably do.
I'm not either.
Stuff. It's always too complicated for me. My brain hurts.
Me too. I tell people all the time on this show, I said there's 2 decks. There's bounce and there's move, and then the combination of the two, it fries my brain, and I don't want to do that. Yeah.
So I'll try that, but I probably will have more fun with Sam. So I mean, I enjoy all of it really. So I don't think anything stands out too much. I guess Character Mastery is maybe the least interesting to me, because again, I'm not as into the progression stuff. Yeah, it's like I probably have a fair bit of progress on a lot of them just because I have to level up my account. But probably won't be the forefront for me. But I think that's good to have that stuff. People like it. I mean, it's another like progression track to figure out. But people who appreciate all that will have fun, I'm sure. Like for some people, I'm sure the game is not even a card game. It's just a collect Marvel heroes and make them look pretty game.
Yeah,
Just
that's
fine.
yeah, that's what a lot of people do is
That's
all
cool.
those splits and stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. If there's one thing you could, you could fix, right? Like I know that there's card acquisition. I know that there's new players, stuff like that. What do you think is kind of like their biggest pain point, something that they really, really need to focus on in the upcoming months?
I think we're in a pretty good spot overall on average from a gameplay standpoint. So for me, I would say something that gets players back to the game more effectively, because I think a lot of players, have naturally kind of lapsed out or hit some progression walls or whatever and bounced off. And I think they're pretty great at bringing in new players. And I think there's a core of players that have been here since the beginning who feel like they're in a pretty good spot. But there's this kind of middle group who went away at various points and dropped out of the game at various points, who I think are kind of lying in wait to re-engage. And Marvel Snap does not have these big moments to bring people back. Like Hearthstone or Magic or whoever have these giant sets that drop every 3 or 4 months. And it's like this big moment, and there's something there that catches people's eyes, and they're like, I have to go, try the new set. And that's a great point to reattach to the game and re-engage people. Marvel Snap, with its card release model, it only has 1 card per week, 2 some weeks, whatever, little bonuses here and there. And rarely are they ever interesting enough to make people take notice or reattach to the game. So I think some cards can do that, like Erisham, I think was a card like that. Maybe even like High Evolutionary, really, really all-star standout game warp. I think Isan could do that potentially, like these really super unique cards, but those are once every 3 or 4 months, 6 months, a year. They don't happen often, and it's not reliable, and it's still not that big of a thing. I kind of wish Marvel Snap would do like a set drop where they drop like 10 cards at once, and it's like this crazy big thing, and it's like they go all out. Like you're a little worried about like how meta warping or impactful that might be, but just from a eye-catching standpoint, like, oh my god, this crazy new 10 card set, and it's cheap, and it's like, oh, I gotta come back and try this out. And just even if you just do it like once a year, just something that gets people like really to take notice. Like, we're gonna drop the Fantastic Four card and a bunch of Fantastic Four villains, and you come buy this 10 card set, for whatever, unlock it for whatever, and it's like that's how you get back into the game. And it's like, okay, sweet, we just gained tens of thousands of players back, as opposed to now I think it's really hard to do that. So I don't know, something like that. I don't know how to solve these problems, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be awesome. Yeah, like even if it was just I was thinking that too. Like if you do like just a pack or something almost like that, and like you said, even if it's once a year, it'd be something to get people back into the game. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, look, man, it was great chatting with you. Love learning about the stuff and how you got where you did, and learning about how you got good at what you do.
Good. I
appreciate it. And not that you have to do this, because I'm sure everybody who's listening knows where they can find you, but tell everybody where they can find your videos and and your channel and all that kind of stuff, and when you do videos and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if you just search Regis on YouTube, I think it pops up now. Regis Kilbin. It's super. You can actually go to regiskilbin.com. It just forwards you to my YouTube channel. So there you go. It's no easier than that. I post videos whenever they're done. So usually that's pretty reliably on a Tuesday around 4 or 5 p.m. Central Time, usually about 3-4 hours after the card comes out on Tuesdays. Other than that, it's when they're done, which means it could be anytime, any day. There's no rules. It's just whenever I finally finish a good video or a cool deck, it goes out. So that's usually about 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, maybe, sometimes more. Random times, random days. So it keeps you on your toes. You gotta be ready.
Gotta be watching.
You want to be first. You want to be first in the comments. You just gotta be click and refresh.
gotta be subscribed and all that good stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
Absolutely. All right. Well, man, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate it. Again, I probably wouldn't have this show if it weren't for you. That's
nice. Thank you.
I've watched your stuff since I've been playing Snap, and I thought to myself, you know what? He's having fun, man, and it just looks like a fun thing to do. But yeah, but I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun geeking out about comics and stuff, man.
Yes.
Usually everybody wants to talk to me about Marvel, and I'm like only kind of a Marvel guy. But DC
Nope.
stuff, like, we can geek out. Let's go.
Yeah, man. We spent like a good 20 minutes on DC. So there you go, guys. I mean, hey, it's but yeah, I loved it. I love the conversation, and yeah, keep up the good work, man. And listen, have fun being a dad. That's what it's all about.
It's great.
I go back to the memories that I had of mine when they were that young and that age and stuff like that. And yeah, just enjoy it, because it really does go really, really quickly. So, but yeah, man, thank you so much. All right, guys, that is going to be the end of this particular episode. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, you subscribe to all that good stuff, comments and everything like that. If you're listening on audio, obviously, thank you guys for listening there as well. You can also follow me on most of those things and comment as well over there. I appreciate all of you. I will be back tomorrow with my weekly pod. We'll talk about the new cards and all the good stuff that we got in the developer video and everything like that. We'll talk about the 2 new cards in comic books. And yeah, so that is it for this episode of Snap Decisions with Regis. Make sure you check out his channel, of course, on YouTube. Go to the website and you'll find out how you can locate him. So have a great day, everyone. I will talk to you on the next one. Please stay safe, be kind to one another always, and hopefully I will talk to you on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.
If only